So who would ever thought that Weber State folk dance would bring us together and then on to create clogging for what it is today? I know in the beginning we had big plans, didn't we? We were going to go to Harvard and then on to be a CEO of a Fortune 500, then maybe politics, maybe even a senator. We had big dreams, but God had different dreams for us and different plans. Not one that would maybe change the world, but one that changed my world and everyone's world who knows you. A better world indeed. One filled with family, friends, love, and joy. Not the things of the world, but the things of the heart, things that really matter. You changed lives one at a time. You taught us to be honest and motivated and driven and believers in ourselves and believers in God. You led by example and in love. Instead of using your time to build a company, you used your time to build family and friends. Instead of using your gift to make political speeches, you used your gift to create spiritual knowledge, which you so freely give. Instead of analyzing numbers to make a company better, you analyze our abilities and show us how to become better. Instead of traveling to acquire more businesses, you travel to acquire more friends and experiences. Instead of running that Fortune 500, you were fortunate, and so were we. Fortunate to have much, much more. We were fortunate because of your choice to do what was right instead of what your dreams were. You had time with your family that you would not have had, and you had time to build friendships that you would not have known. So you see, your life is like this beautiful opus. I think we should call it Mr. Bryan's Opus. I love you forever, my sweetheart and friend. You are my fortunate 500.
I'm curious, folks, how many of you have seen clogging before or know anything about it? No, ma'am, that does not include being proficient in unplugging the toilet. Something a lot different. I hope a lot of you are. How many of you are enjoying clogging? How many of you would like to come up here and try clogging? Well, what I think we'll do now is we're going to turn up the music just about as fast as we can. We call this next number our speed dance. Would you clap along for us as we dance redneck?
We're down in the city. goes to contestant 164, the Steele family. Tell him your name and your director. I know there he is right there, right?
Bonnie Steele from Ogden, Utah.
Bryan Steele. He's the director.
Denny Payne.
All right.
Chris Rozier. Crystal Heslett. Christy Rich.
Number 109, Rise and Shine.
I'm Bryan. I'm Julie. I'm Mindy.
And together we're
the Fawn Family Cloggers. Look like it's right. Hi, I'm Mindy. Hi, I'm Julie.
I'm Bryan.
And I'm Cheryl. And we're the Fawn Family Cloggers.
It's the birthday boy.
I love you.
You're so cute together.
What?
Happy birthday,
Oh, thank you. Did you hear him singing? I said, what?
Yeah.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Hey, Gloria, say hello. We're videoing me talk on the CB.
Hello, Cheryl. Talking on the TV while you're being videoed.
You look cute on the video.
Can't wait now.
I don't want to go up in the arches.
And now from Ogden, Utah, the precision team winners of our Hee Haw International Clogging Championship, the Steele Family Cloggers.
Glory, John.
We found our place on the branch of an old gum tree. Our feet would sway to a voice in the breeze. And birds would sing on the banks of a narrow stream. These memories will stay with me. We made our way to a hill beside the sea. With salt in the air and sand on our feet. We felt the sun as it burned upon our skin. These memories will stay with me. Now I'm far away. These memories still remain. Now I'm far away. You stay with me the same. Now but you found me hiding in the shadows from my destiny. And you saw things that no one else could see. You saved me when I was my worst enemy. It feels so good to be alive, just you and me tonight. Don't wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. I heard your heart call mine, and then all the stars aligned. Don't wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. Spread through me like a wild flame. I feel it in my veins. I'll never ever be the same. I'll never be the same. Cheers to the things money can't buy. It can't buy what I feel inside. This thing I can't deny. Our pretty little paradise. It feels so good to be alive, just you and me tonight. Don't wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. I heard your heart call mine, and then all the stars aligned. Don't wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. Beautiful life. What a beautiful, what a beautiful, what a beautiful life. What a beautiful, what a beautiful, what a beautiful life. What a beautiful, what a beautiful, what a beautiful life. What a beautiful, what a beautiful, what a beautiful life. It feels so good to be alive, just you and me tonight. Don't wake me up from this high. What a beautiful life. I heard your heart call mine, and then all the stars aligned. Don't wake me up from this high.
Hi everyone.
What a
When Cheryl asked me if I
beautiful
would say something about Bryan, some memories, and the one memory that keeps popping into my head is when Julie had gone on her mission and I was asked if I would dance with the Steele family. And I was Bryan's partner, and I had never had a partner before that would spin you around. I pretty much had to spin myself around, and this time when I was dancing with Bryan, he whipped me around, and at the same time I was spinning myself around, and it took every ounce of energy I had to keep on my feet and not fall. And I remember, I'm sure I had that oh crap look on my face. But being with the Steele family cloggers and Wild West cloggers, traveling to the Calgary Stampede in Canada, to the World's Fair in New Orleans, to, of course, Nashville, dancing on the Grand Ole Opry stage, and the first Park City clogging workshop, to the first Lagoon competition. And look at it now. It's amazing. Those were some of the funnest times I had in my life, and I really enjoyed it. And thank you, Bryan, for making that possible for all of us.
Okay, I've been asked to roast Bryan Steele and talk about all the ways that he's impacted my life as he retires. And I thought of lots of experiences, so I'll share these kind of one at a time. The first one is that I started dancing when I was about 12, and I was Mr. Athlete. I thought I was going to play in the NFL and be quarterback. I thought that I was the world's best soccer player, and dance was not in my agenda. My mom made me go to dance, and I remember going to dance for the first time wearing my football pants with all my pads and my shoulder pads, right? Because I wanted to make a statement that I was a football player, not a dancer. And my mom made me wear these terrible clodhopper shoes. They were so ugly. In fact, we've kind of saved them because we look back and think, my mom should probably be in trouble for abusing me and making me wear those shoes. And I just remember my very first class, Bryan had this uncanny way of making people just feel like they were super important. And I hated my first dance class, but I instantly liked Bryan Steele. And so I felt compelled to go back. And then I've been going back now for about 40 years.
Bryan, you're the best. So I wanted to take just a second and tell you thank you for all you've done for me personally, for America on Stage, and for the clogging community as a whole. So I love so much that you started a community of cloggers. It is a fantastic legacy that is just continuing to live on. So thank you for that. Thank you for every poem, every moment. So incredibly grateful for you and Bonnie. You guys are amazing.
Hello, I'm Brad Owen. I have a wife of 35 years. I have 5 children, and I have 2 grandchildren and 1 grandchild on its way. Should be here this week sometime. I'd like to thank Bryan and Bonnie for inviting me into Steele Family Cloggers. And I loved Wild West Cloggers and Steele Family Cloggers as a child. I really enjoyed it. It taught me great principles that I've been able to use throughout my life. And I've been able to be who I am today because of some of the things that Bryan and Bonnie has taught me. And I'm grateful for them and for them teaching me that and give me the confidence I needed to be who I am today.
What's up, Bryan? This is Mike Curtis with All That. Man, I wanted to send you a quick message and throw a few thank yous your way. You know, growing up as a young man in clogging in the early 90s, anytime I had a conversation with someone about clogging in general or showed up at a competition, there were a few names that were always mentioned that stuck out in my mind. One was Bryan Steele and the Steele Family Cloggers, Bobby and Burton in Maggie Valley, Jay Ledford and Leather and Lace. You probably know them pretty well. But those names screamed greatness to me, and that's something that I strived for early in my career and still today, you know. So that influence you had on my clogging career was huge, and I don't know that you even know about it. So I wanted to give you a huge thank you for inspiring a young man all the way back in the early 90s. You know, the influences you've probably had on cloggers growing up over the years, anywhere from the East Coast to the West Coast and all over the world, is crazy to even think about. You know, the impact you've had on the clogging world as a whole is an accomplishment that you should be proud of, brother man. Retirement is a great thing. It means you get to sit back now and reap the rewards of all the accomplishments that have come true that you set your mind to all those years ago. Happy retirement, my brother. Many blessings to you in the future and all that God has in store for you. Like I said, I cannot thank you enough for the impact you had on this one young man's career all the way back in the 90s. God bless and best wishes to you from this point on. Thank you, Bryan.
Hi, Bryan. This is Christy Richens, Coford. I could not let this opportunity pass by to send you a quick little message and let you know how much I have loved you and always will for all that you have done for me. I have come to realize the last 20 years-ish that I've been raising my kids, how much my parents trusted you and loved you. I really can't believe that they let me go across the country more than once and into Canada, so many trips in that Wild West clogging van with not enough seatbelts, which we couldn't do in this day and age. So we were so lucky to have had those experiences that you were willing to take us. I have so many fond memories, and I will always hopefully remember the things that you did for me. I specifically remember in the hallway at the Grand Ole Opry with you one time by myself and you giving me all of your attention because I was about to go on stage by myself. And I will never forget the confidence that you gave me, and that you had assured me that I had prepared well to be there, and that it didn't matter the outcome because I was ready. And I felt really good about that, and I will always remember that one-on-one that you gave me in such a busy time in your life. And this is just a little something. What do the kids say? If you know, you know. I keep this jacket still in the back of my adult closet in my home. I'm not sure what my husband thinks about it, but it reminds me of my experiences, and I've tried to give my kids those same experiences as well so that they could be great individuals. And I know it has made all the difference for me. I know my parents loved you, and I shouldn't have brought that up, but they loved you so much. Almost as much as me. Love Bonnie so much. So grateful that you also gave me opportunities to judge even after I stopped clogging so that I could still be a part of everything. And I'm so grateful for those opportunities as well. So thank you so much. And I hope you enjoy your retirement with your family and your kids. You've worked long and hard for this, and you are a legend. You were only about 10 years older than me. I realize that now when you started your legendary work. I think I was 10 when I begged my parents to let me take a class from you. And the rest is history. So I so appreciate all that you have done. And happy retirement. I love you.
Bryan, I hope you remember me. My name's Corbin Allred. With all of my heart, I wish you the happiest retirement. I was never officially a part of Steele family, but I feel like I was adopted in the moment I met you, and adopted in every single time I saw you, or if I danced with members of your team, was taught by your instructors and teachers. I just felt like I was always part of the family, and I'm forever grateful for that. I have many memories growing up, being on stage, looking down and seeing your smiling face, smiling back up at me. And my time clogging, truly, it represents some of the greatest memories of my entire life. So I want to wish you all the best, and just know that you have left my life and the lives of many, many, many dancers and people far better. I will cherish my time amongst the Steele family for the rest of my life. Thank you.
Hello, Bryan and Bonnie and the Steele family and Wild West Cloggers. It's Jerry Pierce, this squirrely one right here. And it's been a long time coming. Congratulations, Bryan, on 40 years. It's been amazing to see someone who was so dedicated to clogging and the entertainment industry. And I just want to congratulate you on 40 years. Thank you for all you and Bonnie have done for me. I say that because you know that you married up, and she's amazing. But you also have had that impact on my life as equal as Bonnie. I remember as a young clogger just starting out that you came into Brigham City and took over our clogging studio. And I wondered, who in the heck is this couple? And what are they going to do for me? And man, it changed my life. You and Bonnie have impacted me in ways that I just can't, I would take all day to tell you what magnificent things you have done for me. You took me from a shy individual who was afraid to be in front of people to a thriving entertainer, to somebody that's outgoing and loves to be around people. And I love that. That was something that you helped me in transforming myself there. The lifelong relationships that I have built because of Steele Family Cloggers and Wild West and you, I cherish them. I'm still very close friends and have amazing relationships with clogging family who otherwise I would have probably never crossed their paths, and they become best friends of mine. And we continue to stay in touch and enjoy each other, through get-togethers and vacations and things like that. So I appreciate that. There's so many memories from, traveling and touring across the country and sleeping on the floorboard of the Wild West clogging van and, motor coach buses to Nashville and to the World's Fairs and to, Canada and all across the U.S. And my favorite always was Nashville, to be able to be on the Grand Ole Opry stage and to be able to perform and appear on Hee Haw was just, again, memories that I will always cherish to this day. And because of you, my 3 oldest daughters still, they took over and they went into clogging and did their stint. And it was fun to watch them and live clogging through their eyes again. And I think it's a good time to bring up that I probably still owe you for pizza from some pizza parties in the past. And I also think Brian Hill and Brandon Nelson owe you as well. So you might want to collect on that. Anyway, I love you. I love Steele family. I love Wild West. I love you, Brian. I love you, Bonnie. And congratulations. I hope it's an amazing day and event for you on this 40-year celebration. Love you guys.
Hey, Bryan Steele. In honor of your retirement, I thought it would break out this old costume and take her for a spin. Unfortunately, as you can see, this is about as close as the snaps are going to get these days. But aside from how this costume fits, it does serve as a nice reminder of fringe, a nice reminder of all the lessons that I learned from you along the way, and they've spilled over into my professional life. And those are lessons like discipline and hard work, lessons like it takes the synergy of a team to reach success, but also to follow your passion and build a beautiful life. So, Bryan Steele, I hope this message finds you well, and congratulations on your retirement. I hope to see you soon.
Hi, this is Jen Wimpy Erickson, wanting to wish Bryan a happy retirement. And just as I've been reflecting on what I wanted to say, it's just amazing how many fun, happy memories I have from the time when I was clogging. I remember from my first trip to Calgary, I'd only been clogging 1 month, and I only knew greenhorn. And that was such a fun trip to get introduced to the world of clogging. I remember trips to South Carolina, to Nashville, to California, and I was so excited when I finally made it on to Steele family. And you were my partner, Bryan. I don't know if you remember that, in Oklahoma. And I was just kind of this gangly 13-year-old that was really quiet and shy. And it was such a fun opportunity to dance with all of you guys. And although I didn't clog that long, in hindsight, it has been really fun to introduce my children to clogging, because it's still around, and so much of that is because of your forward thinking, your vision, and all that you've put in to making it such a tight-knit community. And it's been so fun reconnecting with everyone and seeing my kids enjoy clogging as much as I did. And even now I have my cute son. He's on a mission in Sierra Leone, West Africa, and he practices clogging every night, and he's performed for the African people at different functions, and they absolutely love it. They just get really wild and crazy when they see him clog. And so it's been fun to know that this community is still around. And like I said before, it's such in large part because of you and your vision. And hopefully just because you're retiring doesn't mean you won't come around to the competitions, because I always love coming to Lagoon and seeing you and Bonnie. And anyway, hopefully this next chapter of your life is super fun and rewarding. And I'm just grateful that I've crossed paths with you over the years.
Hi, Bryan. If you're getting this, it's because we want to celebrate you and your life and our family's life with you. I'll start out by thanking you for the opportunities my children had to dance, to learn, and to grow. They learned how to face challenges and disappointments, and they learned how to have fun and joy because of your organization. Wild West Cloggers was the very first start of our lives in clogging. We had many ups and we had many downs, mostly downs for a long time before they became ups. But that's how we got acquainted with you. Your sisters introduced us to the form of dance, and then you introduced us to more than that. You introduced us to integrity and to joy and to having the ability to influence others. For my family would not be the same without the opportunities that you gave them as young children. We rejoice in your life and the service that you rendered to others unselfishly. We are grateful for your family and for the children that you brought into this world with you and Bonnie, and for their wonderful spirits and energies that they share to others. We acknowledge the fact that you are very tender and that you are close to the Spirit that enabled you to answer through your actions the prayers of others. The opportunity for us to dance on America's Got Talent was there for us. We were willing and able, but it wasn't the same if you can't have somebody there help guiding you and directing you and doing the grunt work. And that's what you did for our family. My family has had many opportunities to meet people. Many of them became very special in our lives. We have husbands and friends all over because of your organization and your desire to do something different to inspire children. And as a mother, I thank you and your family, and want you to know how much we love you.
Okay, so I'm gonna try really hard to get through this because every time I try, I just cry. So my apologies. But couple things that I love about Bryan is that Bryan and Bonnie are kind of a package deal. Everything they do is together, and they're such a good example. And I remember watching them when we were in practices. Probably a lot of you can remember sometimes they didn't get along, like they'd argue, but they always made peace with each other, and they were always together. When Bonnie was pregnant, I'm not sure which pregnancy it was, I went and would help her during the day, just with laundry or whatever she needed help with, and I got to see such a sweet connection of Bryan and Bonnie and what a marriage should be as they served and loved each other. And they would watch Rush Limbaugh together and make their lunch together. And anyway, it was just a really beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful for their example. Bryan is known for his charisma and his just draws everybody in and makes them feel like they are the most important person and that they're loved. And I think that is a talent that he's blessed with, to see other people like Christ sees other people. Because even the hard people he loved. And even the ones that some of us had a hard time getting along with, he found a way to get along and love. And I just love that about Bryan. I love that he taught the gospel as he taught us dance. Tours and devotionals and testimony meetings, he made sure we knew that the Savior was an important part of his life. He also always knew how to push his students to the limit and work them really hard, but still make it fun. And that takes a talent. It's a huge talent. My life would not be the same without Bryan Steele. He brought me my wonderful husband, and my kids all love dance. I am a coach and I'm teaching dance, and some of my best friends have come from the clogging world. My life would not be the same without Bryan Steele. And last, America's Got Talent, Randy mentioned it a little bit. Bryan brought the perfect mix. He brought the gospel, he brought hard work and fun. And somehow a very stressful situation came out to be such a beautiful experience because of his love and his service. Anyway, I want to also just bring that back to Bonnie, because she let him go do that and help us. And it's just that whole circle of Bryan and Bonnie and their examples and their love and the influence they've had on so many of us. And I will be eternally grateful for those two my whole life. I love you both.
Hi, Bryan. Well, I really don't think I can even express in words how much you mean to me and how much the clogging world means to me. And that clogging world you created here for us in Utah. And it is something that has carried me through some of my hardest trials, and it continues to grow myself and my children. And I am truly grateful for you and for you giving me that talent to be able to spread and to use for my family. You have shown me how to work hard and to be dedicated and to fight for things that might not be seen by other people. Being on America's Got Talent, we had to fight. We had to fight for a lot of things, and you taught us to do that and to stand up for ourselves. And I just want to thank you for being there for us, supporting us, taking me on hot cocoa runs so that I could ice my muscles, and being our cheerleader and being the shoulder to cry on when we were feeling defeated, giving us encouragement and telling us this is what we're going to do when all things felt lost. You were definitely a strength then, and you are a strength to me now. And I just want you to know that I love you.
Hey, Bryan. I get the opportunity to share with you some of the things that I love about you, and I am excited to share those with you. I think the time that was very best for me was the opportunity I had to spend time with you at America's Got Talent. I knew you as a kid, but I never had you as a teacher, so I didn't really get to know you, and it was really fun to get to know you and to have you capitalize on my little quirks that made me different and unique, and you recognize those and use those and help me recognize those as strengths. And that to me was super beneficial. And I loved that you were willing to sacrifice your time and your energy and money and effort to be there with us. And you became so dear to me, like a second father. And I'm so thankful that I had the opportunity to spend that time with you on America's Got Talent.
It's hard to talk about Bryan without talking about Bonnie, because Bryan and Bonnie are singular in my book. When I was first invited to come up to Roy and dance with the Steele Family Cloggers, I was put on the Steele Family Junior team, and Bonnie was the mastermind behind Steele Family Juniors, and Bryan was kind of the mastermind behind Steele Family Seniors. And so that was really my first experience of dancing at a higher level and dancing with kids that were a little bit more competitive, kind of beyond the beginning entry level and my first foray into competitive dancing. And I just remember how positive Bryan was and how influential he was at encouraging me to excel and try to make a difference and compete at a different level.
Some great memories I have are from like Best of the Wild West Juniors, when we used to travel around and perform at the malls and the elementary schools, and Bryan would just pack us all in the Wild West Clogger van, and we would drive from place to place. And sometimes Bryan would even let us drive. I don't know if you remember that, Bryan, but we would take turns driving with you, and it was so much fun. Not when it was snowy. I think when it was snowy, you were pretty strict about that, but if not, you would give us some turns. I remember you showing us how to use the electric razor, and we'd kind of play around with it and pass it around the van, and just a lot of really fun memories. Nothing negative that I remember at all, even though it probably did happen. I only have fond memories of that time in my life, just dancing and having fun with my friends and being loved by you and Bonnie.
Hey Bryan, it's Darren Davis. I just wanted to say congratulations on the legacy that you created. You know, you never know how you're going to affect somebody, especially when, well, at any time, but especially when you're younger. And I just wanted to share, like, I've had no interaction with you since clogging days, but I just wanted to share that those days have continued. I've done some choreography.
What did you think all them saddles and boots?
Was able to do some things for some people that was awesome. But every time I did something, people would always say, "My gosh, your footwork is so tricky." And I'm like, "You think that's tricky? Just try moving both feet at the same time." But there was I did a private lesson with you for a freestyle, and there was a move, a little step that you taught, and I swear I've done a variation of that step in almost every choreographed piece that I've done since. And everyone is like, "Where did you come up with this?" And I'm like, this is actually kind of like a clogging thing. Of course, without the tapping, but that's something that's continued that you gave me. So I just wanted to say thanks. Also, you know, I did a video for Willie Nelson.
One more.
And I had them do an ankle breaker.
That's sleeping in each cowboy's head. Cowboys are...
So again, you just have no idea like what you're taught. And both my parents are teachers. So how you affect people and how they move on in life is, you just never know. But I just wanted to say that it's continued for me. And I just want to say thank you. The relationships. The friendships.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done?
The friendships that I get to see on Facebook, and it's like I just love keeping up with all these people that I got to meet in those days from long ago. It was really, really, really special. The performance, the competition, the travel.
Come on, ease on down the road. Come on, ease on down the road.
All those things that you helped provide for us that were a part of it. And it was such a community that now if you run into someone, there's this bond that's like, I mean, I just met up with Heidi last year, and it was like we just, like no time had gone by, because we had this bond that happened that was so meaningful. It was so meaningful, and that's something that you started. So I just wanted to say thank you, and I wish you the best of luck in this next chapter of yours. Whatever you choose to make, I know it'll be fantastic. But I just wanted to share my heart of thanks and gratitude for what you've created for us, because it lives on. And so, thank you, my brother. I wish you well.
Hello, this is Brett Buchanan, also known as Brett Riddle. Bryan, I just want to thank you so much for the pathway that you led through clogging. I started when I was 5 years old with you, and those memories still ring true to me. The lessons that I learned of hard work, dedication, gave me confidence, gave me friendships, and I will forever treasure that. And because of you, that led this path. My daughter Oakley has been clogging with LaShare here in Pocatello with LaShare's Fab 5. I think this is her 8th year dancing, and so because of you, I get to pass it on to the next generation in my family. And because of you, LaShare is teaching here and making so much impact on so many people's lives. And I'm so grateful that my daughter gets to have the impact of clogging and the joy that it brought to me. Congratulations on your retirement. We will miss you at Lagoon. It's always been a pleasure and brings back so much fond memories each year that I go there with my daughter. And the clogging family is so strong and it is just incredible. And before my daughter started dancing, I was still friends with all my clogging friends. We would just pick up right where we left off, and I owe that all to you and Bonnie. So I appreciate that, and I'm excited for your new adventure, and we will miss you.
I just thought I'd take a quick minute today to express my gratitude for bringing me a dance family that truly touched my heart, and it was and is, continues to be part of who I am today. You all were inspiring, and you created an environment that was above all safe. And as a parent and as an adult, I look back now and I'm even more in awe and feel increased gratitude for that. Bryan, you are a rock star, and you've changed my life and added to my life, added to the joy in my life, and in so many others. Thank you so much for your efforts and for your life's work and your service to all of us. Love you guys.
Hey, Bryan. It's Susan and David Phillips from CLOG, the National Clogging Organization, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. We just want you to know what a legacy that you're leaving from the East Coast to the West Coast. You'll never be forgotten. Wow, we had some amazing times with the Junior Olympics. We'll never forget them. And rest assured, David and I will call on you if we need you, anytime we need you. You did a great job. Love you. Bye-bye.
The second thing I remember is that Bryan pulled me aside right before doing freestyle, and he said, Vondry, you got to win this thing, right? Now, everyone that knows me knows I wasn't the best dancer. I was competing against Burton Edwards and Bobby Revis and Brent Montgomery and Brandon Nelson and Jess Jones and Brian Bond and all of these dancers who were amazing. And I'm just this little ding-dong up there wearing yellow pants and a plaid shirt with a buzz cut. And Bryan pulled me aside and he said, Vondry, you can totally win this competition. Like, if I was voting for someone, I'd vote for you. Now, I recognize now, he's probably telling all the dancers that, right? But he just made an effort to pull me aside and give me this confidence that I could win this competition. And that was something that had never occurred to me, that I could even place in the top 10 or even compete and win. And Bryan made it very obvious that he had faith in me that I could do that. I'll never forget that. I always hope that I can convey that level of confidence in my own kids or the people that I have influence with.
Hey, Bryan. Burton Edwards here. I just glad to hear you retiring, man. Praise God. You've done so much for clogging. It's time you have some fun in life. And I know you had fun dancing too, but I just want to say I really respect you for all you've done for all the kids in the world dancing. And you're a true legend, man. It's been a pleasure to know you and be your friend. God bless you. You and your family, and I hope you enjoy every minute of your retirement. Take care.
Hey everyone, this is Amy Gotch-Chakba, and I have been asked by Cheryl to do this video to give thanks to all that Bryan Steele has done for me in my life. And I am grateful for this opportunity I get to share with everyone. Where do you even begin? I started clogging when I was 8, and after that it was forever a part of my life. And so I would like to first of all thank you for creating a beautiful family of cloggers that will forever be in my heart. The friendships that were created through clogging and will last forever and for a lifetime. And for that, I am truly grateful. Also, I would like to thank you for your example of leadership, precision, and hard work. Those examples have carried me through, not only through my clogging career, but through life in general. And it works through every aspect of my life. Thank you for the memories of traveling, competing, and performing. Those were always exciting times in my life that I looked forward to, and the strength that we felt when we were together competing and performing and cheering each other on, and just the genuine love that was shared between all of us. And a lot of that was because of what you established and what you created when you first started Wild West Cloggers, or Steele Family Cloggers. All of this will forever be carried on into my heart and throughout my whole life. Ask my kids and my husband, that's all I ever talk about. And sometimes I'll still whip out a clogging dance that I can remember, which is Eastbound and Down and Greenhorn. And anyway, I hope that this next stage in your life will bring you joy and peace as you move on from clogging, and enjoy this time with your family. May God bless you and your loved ones, and thank you for the most amazing experience of my life, and that was clogging. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Hi, Bryan and Bonnie. I love you guys so much. Happy retirement, Bryan, and I just want to tell you thank you for all the wonderful memories in my life, and especially for taking me in as a kind of a little bit of a troubled teenage girl and giving me a place to try to connect back with myself and find who I was again. I'm sorry for all of the troubles I gave you. I know I was a hard one, and I probably still am a little bit, but I'm doing good, and I have the best memories with my clogging days, and I wouldn't have had those if it wasn't for you guys and all the great tours and competitions and performances and everything that I was able to do. That part of my life was a big influence on who I am today and the things that I've been able to accomplish and to do. And I love you so much. Happy everything to you guys.
Hi, Bri. We just wanted to congratulate you on your retirement and thank you for the 38 years of clogging and all the memories that we have.
We appreciate all that you've done and made possible for us and our dance family. We sure love you.
We love you, Bri.
Bryan Steele, the legend. You are to me and to so many others, but you're also a dear friend. You and Bonnie are some of the sweetest, most loving people that I know. It's crazy to think that it was at your nationals competition at Lagoon when I was 10 years old that I first laid eyes on my future wife. Ash was 8 at that time, and 30 years later and 4 kids, and look what that's turned into. So in fact, Ash and 2 of our kids are still competing on the stages that you have built. So I'll always cherish the memories and the lifelong friendships that I've gained as a result of your sacrifice and your hard work. So thank you so much. The glory days of Steele Family were truly some of the best. Thank you for providing a platform for us to develop our talents, to experience success and failures, and to gain confidence and just grow as people. You've worked so hard and you've accomplished so much, so congratulations on a well-deserved retirement. Love you.
Congratulations, Brian. We've had a lot of good fun years together. All the triathlon we done back east, and a lot of memories. Lots and lots of memories.
Thank you for all the clogging years.
Thank you for all those years.
Thanks, Brian. We love you.
We love you.
Thanks, Brian.
Hello, my name is Lucy Lynch Peterson, also known in my clogging years as Little Lucy. My partner was Jess Jones. He was known as Big Jess. So Bryan Steele would announce our routine as Big Jess and Little Lucy going on stage. Clogging was so much fun growing up. I have many memories. We worked hard, we played hard, we rode hard on those long rides in the big bus to the Calgary Stampede in Alberta, Canada, and back to Branson, Missouri, and Nashville, Tennessee. I remember many times practicing over and over again all of our routines because Bryan was a perfectionist and he would often change our routines on the way to competition. So then every time we stopped at a McDonald's or at a hotel or even just at the mall, we would have to practice in the parking lot, all of our dances at least 3 times so that we would remember those changes. Clogging helped me build a foundation of confidence and self-esteem as I have journeyed throughout my life. I currently provide anesthesia at a busy trauma hospital and surgery center in California. And the skills I learned as a clogger, working individually or as a team to reach goals, I now use in the operating room with surgeons and doctors in managing a patient throughout surgery. So thank you, Bryan Steele, and my entire clogging family for helping me to live my dream. And especially thank you, Mom and Dad, for the many sacrifices made so that I could enjoy my childhood as a clogger. Remember, winning is not the ultimate goal. It's all about how you enjoy the journey. And clogging and Bryan Steele was absolutely a huge part of my tender years journey. Thank you.
Hey Brian, just wanted to take a minute and tell you how thankful and grateful I am to have you come into my life and to be there by my side through everything. Thank you for all those mornings that you worked with me before going to school and then you taking me to school. Thank you for your example, everything that you have taught me. Couldn't ask to be friends or even call you a dad to a better guy. Really appreciate everything again and love you so much, man. Hope you enjoy your retirement.
Hey Brian, I wrote down what I wanted to say, so here goes. Thanks to you starting Wild West Cloggers, you gave me and countless other kids so many great clogging memories. You always had positivity and encouragement for all of us. I loved being able to go to practice each week to be with all the friends I'd made on Steele Family Juniors. We had so much fun together, probably more than we should have sometimes. Sorry, Bonnie. But even so, I remember working so hard, sweating so much, and taking pride in all the talent and precision that we'd gained from working with you both. From the practices to the performances, the traveling and the competing, you gave us all awesome experiences and memories I know I've never forgotten. So thank you.
I'm so grateful for this opportunity to just kind of tell Bonnie and Bryan what clogging has meant to me. And I say Bonnie and Bryan because you guys are inseparable to me. I'm so grateful for both of you. And maybe a little more credit to Bonnie since she's the one who worked with the 2 little chubby girls in the garage when Bryan wasn't quite sure why she was doing that. And I'm so grateful I got to know both of you so well. Bryan, you're a great example to me. As you know, my dad wasn't around much while I was growing up, and so I kind of always look for those father examples, and you are one of those in my life, and I'm so grateful to you for that. You and Bonnie used to take Mindy and I to church, I think pretty much every week while we were growing up, until we started going to our own ward, and I think you wrote this poem for me during church one time, and I still have it. And it goes, there lives in a land not so far, far away, a young lass of 9 who clogs most every day. She's cute and she's smart and her talents are many, but above all of these, she loves clogging plenty. At the wee age of 9, she's already a champion. She's won more than most. Her ambition's never dampened. She has set a high goal to become clogging's best, and if she works hard, I feel bad for the rest. Yet even if she didn't win another clog trophy, and people avoid her and some call her dopey, I'd still love her much. I tell you this truly. You ask what's her name, I respond, it is Julie.
Okay, one memory I had of clogging, especially of Bryan, was riding backwards in the van all the way to North Carolina and to Tennessee and then back home again because the driver's seat kept trying to recline, and so we had to shove stuff in between the seat I was in and the driver's seat to keep it from reclining while he was driving, and that was great times. Thanks.
Hi Bryan, the Vaudry family met you about 38 years ago. I will never forget our daughter Lori's first class. You were the teacher. Within that hour, I recognized a really good teacher. Along with Lori, I took a son to the second class. He didn't want to go, but I insisted. I told him, I think you will like this kind of dance, and I know you will like the teacher. Well, that was a long time ago, and in the matter of the next few years, 4 of our 7 children joined your program. And we've had grandchildren there, a total of 18, if I counted right. And today, 2 of our children are still very involved, and 6 of the grandchildren are still involved. Besides learning to clog, I appreciate your good example. I appreciate the wholesomeness of the program and the encouragement for striving for excellence. The fun, we will never forget all the good times, and we met so many wonderful friends along the way. I even got a wonderful daughter-in-law as a result of clogging. Thank you for your help, your kindness, many, many times. We love you. Enjoy your retirement.
I remember the first time I competed at Hee Haw, back on the Grand Ole Opry stage. 2 things I remember specifically about that experience. One is when we went back and danced with Still Family. So it may not have been my first dance there, but I remember that Bryan completely changed one routine, and we stayed up into the wee hours of the morning practicing this new rhythm. I think he changed somewhere between 4 and 6 counts of 8 because he didn't like how it looked on the stage. And this was right before the finals. I was in tears, right? I couldn't handle that level of stress, and Bryan was positive and he kept us focused, and we ended up winning that competition. And so I remember that specifically, how driven towards excellence that Bryan was, that he'd have us stay up all night long and change our entire dance routine. I wonder if other Still Family dancers remember that experience.
Hey, it's the Harmers. It's Dan.
Bryan.
Shelly.
Bob.
Gloria.
Bryan, we just wanted to take a minute and say thank you for all that you've done over the years. You know, it's always been a great opportunity for us to look back on all the memories, the times we've had. We found this old newspaper article where you were just a young buck right there, and we were a whole lot younger. And nothing like clogging Still Family style. You know, the memories, the trips, the tours, the lifelong friends. None of that would have been possible without you and Bonnie and all that you did with your studio and making opportunities available for us for lifelong memories. So thank you so much. We wish you guys the best.
Another thing that I remember about Bryan is that before heading to Hee Haw one year, Bryan wrote me a letter. And I'm confident the letter said really good things, but you would have to hire someone who read hieroglyphics to be able to even understand what was in the letter, because everyone that knows Bryan knows that he's smart as a whip, but he can't write anything to save his life. It's not legible. So there's a little roast, Bryan, because your letter really was awesome, but it was almost impossible to read.
Hi, Shauna Lindsay here. I was lucky to be a Centerville girl, and then also lucky to be able to spend a little time clogging with the junior Still Family team. Such good memories. So grateful for Bryan. I've been able to, this week I went through my clogging box that's got notes and private lesson notes and different judging sheets and things. Also found this sweet door decoration from Cheryl that says on the back, "Good luck now and always." And honestly, I just have such great memories in my childhood. When I think of my childhood, I think of clogging. Grateful for the confidence that you helped us to have and the fun times and the fun memories. So thank you so much.
Hey Bryan, it's Trudy Chapman Hatch. Wow, Lagoon, you're still there. That's amazing. 40 years. You definitely have given your heart and soul to clogging. So many years ago, I cannot believe a young girl with no talent, but a lot of desire and passion to learn something new, to explore the world, to travel, and to get to do many things that I would never have been able to do without the Steele family cloggers and Wild West cloggers. I loved everything about it. It was such a small window of time and yet definitely memorable. So hope this is a great celebration for you. I sure look forward to seeing you and your family and all that you're getting caught up with everybody.
Hey Bryan, it's Simone Nichols Pace now from South Carolina. Just want to say congratulations to you on your retirement, and just want to say thank you for all those years of all the lives that you touched through your clogging talents. Your legacy will live on forever, my friend. Thank you so much, and I would love to see you soon. Bye-bye. Congratulations.
Something that's not clogging related is that before I left to serve a mission for the LDS Church, Bryan came and met with me and read scriptures with me and went to the temple with me, and he talked about some of the doctrines of giving a priesthood blessing and how when you speak in the name of the Lord, and you need to have confidence in the faith that the Lord will honor what you say in those blessings. And I wrote in my journal how powerful that experience was for me, that Bryan was so much more than just a friend or clogging teacher. He's a father figure, and that he influenced much of my development of faith, and something that completely changed the way that I served a mission. So I appreciate that.
Hey, Bryan Steele, or B Steele as I like to call you. This is Bryan Hill. Grateful for the opportunity to share a few thoughts and congratulate you on your retirement. For those of you in the 45 and older crowd, I'm B Hill. And I was thinking back on some of my memories of Bryan and clogging in general. Think about some cloggingisms, as I call them. There were shingles, clogging shingles, clog camp, and we all are familiar, maybe not all, but familiar with the old Kentucky kick, or the Bryan, as some of us called that. Shingles was a thing in clogging much before I was aware it was a health concern, and I knew clog camp way before I ever heard of a football or a basketball camp, but those were fun memories. I think about some of the performances and competitions. Some of my favorites, and we all are familiar with touring, but we had a studio and mobile studio, and it felt like every gas station and every hotel parking lot across America. Remember clogging competitions at Rick's College, at the Sarah Shell, at Union Station, and Lagoon. We moved on to bigger and better things in places such as Silver City, Nashville. Some of my favorites, or one of my favorites, was the Calgary Stampede. And then obviously Fontana. Who cannot forget, or who can't remember the running out or going out at night and in an effort to scare some of the young ladies, and Bonnie and Tammy looking for us and finding us hiding underneath a street lamp. But that was a fun time, and I'm sure Bruce remembers that as well. Another local favorite of mine was the Dickens Festival at Christmas time. Fun memories, and traveling in this van all across the country. Another thing traveling meant was rooming with Bryan, and that was a fun time. Rooming with Bryan meant boxing matches on TV almost all the time, and traveling meant talk shows on the radio mixed in with a little bit of Barry Manilow. So remember those great times. They've shaped me, and I will never forget them. Just want to congratulate you, Bryan, on what you meant to me. As I remember you walking into the studio in Roy with Bonnie, taking over what was Wild West Cloggers, I believe, at the time, and doing with clogging in Utah and what nobody else could do in Utah and across the country. I appreciate your friendship, your mentorship, your guidance, and certainly your influence in shaping me into what I am now. Bryan, your name will always be blessed in my book, and grateful again for your friendship. Congratulations on your retirement. Hope you enjoy it. Sorry we missed it. Had a pre-commitment with the family. So love you. Take care, buddy.
What to wear, what to wear, what to wear. Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. I just wanted to say hi to my friend Bryan Steele and thank you for the lifetime of memories and good times that we had. When I first started dancing with Steele family, we met in Bryan and Bonnie's basement, and the first time I walked in that room, I felt like I was surrounded by celebrities, the coolest people ever, and it turned out to be my best friends. During that time, we took 2 trips to Canada, and Bryan, you led us every step of the way. You taught us how to perform at a high level, how to always do our best, and how to engage the crowd. These were life skills that I learned and will use for the rest of my life. Bryan and Bonnie, I want to thank you both for all of the opportunities, not only for clogging and dancing and friendships that I learned, but also for everything else. How to be a good person, how to be a family person, and how to lead with integrity. Just great skills, and I'm grateful for that. Just want to say thanks for all the memories, thanks for the friendships and everything. Oh, and just one thing. After years of trying to get on the All Rocky Mountain team, I finally made it. 1 year. The year of the paper jacket. I need a new jacket. Thanks.
Hey, Bryan. Kim Long here. I had a bunch of stuff that I wanted to say right away, and now I can't remember. Congratulations, 40 years. That's pretty amazing. 13 to 15 years is how much time I spent with Wild West and Steele family. I started at the age of 5, and you were my first teacher. Because of you and your guidance with the studio, and even as my teacher, I learned at a very young age that anything was possible. And I kept that going no matter what, no matter where I ended up or placed. I knew what I was doing was my best, and that's all that mattered. And a lot of that is attributed to you. So thank you. Your influence has definitely made an impact on me. I now have a beautiful family, an amazing marriage of 23 years. And I also have my master's in clinical mental health. I think definitely your guidance has always had an impact on me. And I don't know where I'd be without it. I really appreciate everything you've done, everything you've taught me and instilled in me, and those memories of my beginning years with you and Canada trips. Those will always be in my heart. So again, congratulations. Love always. Kim.
Bryan, this is Derek Horton. Thanks for being such a great mentor for me when I was in clogging many years ago. It was a great experience. I really look back to those years as transformational in my youth. Congratulations on a successful career in dance, for many, many years. Wish you all the best.
So, Bryan and Bonnie, I also wanted to just tell you how grateful I am for your example of showing me what loving something is. And you guys loved clogging so much and loved your clogging family so much. And I could see that. I could see that after we had spent 3 days at Lagoon competing and then coming home every night and re-watching the competition until like 3 or 4 in the morning, and you getting so excited about watching us dance and watching your team succeed and the people that you had worked with succeed. And I'm so grateful you guys will never know that I was able to be a part of the Steele family, Wild West Cloggers. You guys mean so much. I love you both, and we'll be forever grateful for you.
Another example of Bryan's compassion and dedication towards his friends are that when LaChere and her sisters, the Fab Five, were invited to dance on America's Got Talent, Bryan met us, and we were at a totally non-clogging venue. And Bryan came up and said, LaChere, I had a dream. I had a dream that I was coaching the Fab Five. And LaChere instantly got this look on her face, and he's like, what? And she says, Bryan, I was thinking about talking to you because we got invited to be on America's Got Talent, and we could use your help. Bryan almost completely stopped everything that was going on in his business and personal life. He drove to California week after week, paid for his own hotel, paid for all of his food, and provided this coaching for the Fab Five so that they could have a good influence on America's Got Talent. And Bryan always said it was less about the Fab Five and more about advancing the perception of clogging and how wholesome and how good clogging was for kids. And if we could expand this perspective, that it would bless the lives of many people. And that was so tender and so kind. I often think, would I stop everything I'm doing for 2 months to go help a friend who is competing in a reality television show? That's unprecedented. Bryan is remarkable, and he's always had that level of compassion for his friends.
Hey, Bryan, Scott Asbell here. I just want to take a minute and acknowledge what an amazing man you are. I look at life, and I think we all want to make a difference and do something significant. And with 100% certainty, I can say that you have done that in your life. I look at the opportunities that you provided for me and thousands of other kids to experience success and to grow our confidence, which helped us as we went out into the world and lived our lives. I acknowledge what you did by obtaining an advanced degree. That was really inspiring to me and inspired me to actually do something similar. There are so many kids whose lives have been influenced for good by you. And it's a ripple effect that will go on for generations. And we thank you. I thank you. I also want to acknowledge something special, which is your relationship with Bonnie. And that's something we've all noticed, how you care for her and look out for her. It's obvious to us that you love her. Thank you again for the wonderful influence you've been on my life and thousands of other kids. We love you.
This is Jeff Driggs from West Virginia, joining in the celebration of Mr. Bryan Steele. From Utah mountaintops to clog camp to the Opry stage, from judges' chairs to rocking chairs, it's been a great 4 decades of clogging, Bryan. Congratulations and best wishes.
The last thing that I wanted to mention about Bryan is that in Bryan's book, everyone's a winner, and everyone deserves to be recognized, and everyone deserves to have that influence that they are the star. And so when Bryan expanded America on Stage and the competition circuit, he made it clear that everyone would have multiple opportunities to take a first place and a second place. I was a lot younger when this started happening, and I would always say, Bryan, what are you doing? There's only 1 first, 1 second, and 1 third. And he'd say, no, Vaudry, we've got to recognize more kids. We've got to express that more kids win all the time on the stage. And over the years, I've seen the wisdom in that every kid needs to be recognized as a first place dancer, and they need to be recognized on the podium for excellence. And that's something that I never perceived. I think my lack of maturity or my lack of compassion, but truly in Bryan's book, everyone is a winner and everyone deserves to be recognized. And that's why I think this is phenomenal to recognize Bryan today, because his influence has been phenomenal over the years. I love you, Bryan. We might replace you in the announcer booth, but your influence will never be replaced in the clogging world.
Hello, Bryan. Hey, this is Dennis Covia, of course, and I want to congratulate you on this honor they're giving you today. And I just want to thank you for all our past history. We've just done so much together, and all of our clog camps. And then 28 years ago, we decided to go our separate ways, and I got together with Shonda Bishop and Bonnie Romney, and we formed Clog America. And you went and did America on Stage, and look at what, we're still going strong. And I just really appreciate being able to have worked with you and do all this, and we're still promoting our clogging program. So I'd like to invite you and Bonnie to come down to our last show, because we're retiring Clog America this year. On June the 23rd at 7 o'clock, there at the University Place Mall in Orem, we're going to do our last show. And so I've got VIP seating for you. Sure hope you guys can come down. I'd love to see you. Take care. Friends forever, bud.
Hi, Bryan and Bonnie. We are so grateful that we can be a part of your celebration. We can't express how much we love both of you and what you mean to us. The opportunities that you've given us, our lives would not be anywhere near what they are right now without you. I just realized the other day that it was 20 years ago that Bryan first brought us into his office, and the rest is history. We sure love you guys more than you know.
And who would have thought all those years ago that we would eventually get together, have some fun, and for all the crazy times we've been through, may I say, Bryan, you're literally like another father to me. So many funny times we have talked for hours on the phone. And let's be honest, you and I have the best conversations about so many funny things. Please know simply I would not be the person I am today without you. I can't tell you how grateful I am for you and how much I love you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It's time for another fun phone call.
Clogging literally changed my life. When I was growing up, I was really shy, and clogging gave me the confidence I needed. And it all started when Bryan, my big brother, took me, his 12-year-old little sister, to a clogging workshop, and the rest is history. Bryan had the vision to make the Steele family cloggers into champions. My daughter-in-law is actually taking an advanced clogging class at BYU, Idaho, and they showed 3 videos of the Bryan Steele family cloggers. Her teacher said that Bryan changed clogging in the West when our family won the Hee Haw International Clogging Competition for the first time. Wow, you're famous, Bryan. What a tribute. I can't thank you enough for the incredible influence you have had on my life. I love you, Bryan. I wish you lots of happiness in this new adventure in your life.
Bryan Steele is a man of steel. Strong, brilliant, driven, competitive, passionate, inspiring, motivational, blessed. My brother, my mentor, my hero, and my friend. With deepest gratitude, thank you, Bryan, for allowing us to fly with you. You are our hero. From your clogging family, we love you forever and always.
Hi, Bryan. Congratulations on your retirement, even though I don't think you'll ever retire until the Lord takes you, of course. Just a few little items that I wanted to talk about first. Many people may not know that this all started out with you wanting to try out for the folk dance team at Weber State Institute. And I remember you coming up to me and saying, hey, they've got this dance team, let's try out for it. And from there, all of these magical moments have happened. So just a few little memories that I have. I remember our beginning classes, especially when we were just starting out. Sometimes we would have like 60 plus students in one class, which was, you know, miraculous, but it was so fun. Let's see, I remember our 5 a.m. meetings at Gerald's house with mice running around on the sofas. I remember the Calgary Stampede and how fun that was, and dancing with the Leahys. Also our recitals. I remember mostly our Christmas recitals at the Salt Palace. Then of course can't forget the Steele Family Clogger Band, where we would shove as many cloggers as we could into the van, and then we would drive, and it seemed like almost always I was the one that had to drive through the night, and it usually rained, and there I was driving in the rain. We won't talk about the rest though. Then dancing for President Reagan when he came out, that was fun. Of course, all of our summer clog camps, can't forget about them, and the wonderful times we had getting to know the students. And then, of course, probably for my time with the clogging was the culmination of winning at the Grand Ole Opry with Stars and Stripes Forever, with the costumes that we had, and then being able to go and dance on Hee Haw. Wow, what a fun run we had. Brian, but most important, I would say that the lifelong friends and family that, and maybe not even lifelong, but eternal friends that we have made through this clogging business. Brian, you have created a dynasty that has blessed so many lives, numerous lives, and even to the point where last year my youngest child, McKay, was able to find his eternal love, Aubrey Adams, through the clogging world. How much you have taught me as being an older brother, but also being a businessman and teaching me so many values and lifelong skills that will help me throughout my life, and who have helped me throughout my life. I love you as a brother, and also as a clogging family. Love you, Brian. Wish you the best in whatever you decide to do now.
Hey Brian, this is Scotty, and I just wanted to reach out and let you know that what a great friend you've been my entire clogging career, and I'm really happy that you're being celebrated for your life's work and everything, all the mentorship that you've offered to so many dancers, and the opportunities you've given a lot of us to be able to do what we love to do so much, and that is clogging, and just creating studios and a livelihood that all of us enjoy. I can't say enough about how much I love our friendship, your family, and I know you know that, and I wanted to take time to make this video and send it in and let you know that I truly love you, and I'm so glad that we met, and I look forward to the fun times we can have now that you're retired. Have plenty of time. Talk to you soon, man. Love you. Bye.
Another thing I learned from you guys is to be proud of who I am. I don't know if you remember this, Bryan, but one time I think our family van had broken down, and so we had called you to help get us to school, which I can't believe that you did anyway. That's so kind of you. But you came to get me in the Wild West Clogger van, and I asked you to please not pull up in front of my junior high in the van. Like, I just didn't want my friends to see it. And not only did you pull up in front of the school, but you pulled up and honked the horn and then said, go ahead and get out and be proud of who you are. And I won't ever forget that. It means a lot to me, because it really doesn't matter what other people think of you. If you're doing good things and you're being a good person and you're doing what you love, that's all that matters.
Hey, Bonnie and Bryan Steele. I know this is like Bryan's retirement, but you know I can't say Bryan without saying Bonnie too. Bonnie and Bryan are a team. They totally changed my life and changed the lives of so many of us in just such a big way. I just want to send you my love and let you know I wish I was there, but guess what? Because of you, I'm off doing my professional career clogging across the country and performing today with Powerhouse, and that is largely because of the gift you guys gave me of confidence and the skill level of and the art of clogging. So I love you both. I wish I could be there in person. Mwah. You are my second family. I love it.
All right. The last video, oh my goodness, has been such a work in progress for so long. I can't wait for you to see it. I hope you have loved it and you can feel how much appreciation and love people have for you guys. I love you. Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family. Words cannot express. I'm always here for you. I love you. See you later.